Okay, so let's talk about our file management exercise. This exercise, and I'm going to go ahead and click because I have this open and by the way, this is a Google Doc. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to create a folder structure, and I'll go over what that structure is, and then I want you to upload particular images that we've already created or new images into this structure, and then you will share your directory, and that's key, and post your link on Blackboard. Okay, so creating these folders is somewhat just repetitive once you figure out the way I want them done. So let me go ahead and show you this. You'll start with a directory called File Management, and then you'll put in these folders: My IT Lab, Chapter Work, Hands-On, and Classwork. So that's your first level. So over here, I've already done it, but in general. So if some of you had created the CIT12 directory, this is not replacing that. This is a separate exercise, okay? So you can place it inside, but in this case, I want you to create at that same level another folder. So in this case, you go create folder, and in there you give it the name. Now I'm not going to do it because I've already done it. By the way, if you're on Google Drive here, you can do the same thing where you just say create folder, okay, and you give it a name. So the first folder you'll create is File Management, and then under File Management you'll create Chapter Work, Classwork, Hands-On, My IT Lab. How do I know that? Because then here, and I'm just following the instructions where it says inside My IT Lab create 3 folders. Okay, so My IT Lab, then I create a Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, and then under, and I'm clicking back here to go, and then under Chapter Work create 1, 2, 3, and 4, because those are the chapters that we've covered. And then under Classwork, I'm not going to have you create subfolders. And then under Hands-On, I will not have you create subfolders. Okay? So now let me tell you what goes in these. Now it's interesting, if you look at this, you can tell. Now if your screen doesn't look like this, you come over here, and there's different ways, just as there are on your computer, to look at files and folders. So what I did here is I switched to what's called the detail view, and then I switched here to the thumbnail view. And I recommend you do this on your personal computer as well as the cloud. But I'm using the cloud because all of us are using, most likely, not all of us, are using different operating systems, and so knowing how to do this on the cloud gives you the comfort level to do this on your computer, is my hope. Okay, so now I'm going to actually have you create some stuff, and some stuff you'll already have. So now, inside of the My IT Lab, where you created the Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, take a print screen of each training and upload it into the folder. Okay, so in this case, you'd go into your My IT Lab, right? Let me go back one. Then you would go into Word. Right? Now in this case, what you could do is just go ahead, either take a print screen here, or actually I think it's more interesting to go into one of these, right, that you've already done, and create a print screen there. But I'm going to let you do it either way, because really all I'm doing is creating files. And I'm not going to walk you through how to create these print screens, because by now you know how to do this. Okay, so do make sure your name is on these files though. Okay, so inside of My IT Lab, in Word, you'll have a Chapter 1 image, Chapter 2 image, and a Chapter 3, okay, for the training. Okay, so follow along here, and then inside the 3, so in Excel, you'll do the same thing. Okay, so now you'll have back here, you'll back up one folder, you'll go to My IT Lab again, go to Excel, go to the, now change, right, so now go back here, go to Excel. And in this case, because we haven't covered Excel, I think I'm going to change it and just have you do one print screen of these 3, since we have not done this. So I'm going to change it up, and I'll modify the instructions. So just one print screen for all 3. Oh, should have been of the training, sorry, of the training in this case. Okay, so take a print screen here. Okay. Each training. There we go. And so I've changed this to where in Excel, and I'll change it to PowerPoint as well, because now that I'm thinking about it. So then you'll also do this, and really, again, all we're doing is creating some content here for the PowerPoint one file here. So how have I modified it? I've modified it to require only one print screen for the Excel and the PowerPoint, but on the Word, I want you to open up each one and choose one of the trainings and do a print screen. Okay, so you'll have a varying number of files here. So Word, each one for Excel and one for PowerPoint. So now inside the chapter work, okay, so inside the chapter work, we'll go in here. We have chapter 1. So here's what I want you to do here is open up the ebook, because everyone has it by now. Go to that chapter and find an image you feel really represents that chapter. Okay, take a print screen here of that image. I believe there's various ways to take print screens. You can do a traditional, let's just make sure of this, because sometimes print screens of these images can be a challenge. So let me go into one just to make sure. Oh, good. So let's say I decided to use that one. I'm going to use my snipping tool. Okay. And let's say I decided, good. So then you would save that locally and then upload it into that directory for chapter 1. So you would do this. You would get an image out of the chapter that you feel represents the chapter for chapter 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So that's those. And then, good. Represents a chapter. Or if you want to, alternatively, you could use Google Docs here, right? So you could look at what the chapter covers and go to not Google Docs, but images.google.com. Okay, so now inside the hands-on, I want you to upload the images you've submitted for these items. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's actually go over here. So in the hands-on, the first one, which was the Who's in the House, all I want you to do here is take a print screen of your submission. Okay, so do a print screen here of your submission. Okay, so going back here. So again, we're we're creating content for you to upload, right? So take a print screen for Who's in the House, but the other ones, your photo, your desktop, introduce your computer, okay, all those had images. So then you would upload them. So let's go back here. So then on hands-on, I haven't all those files for all those items. So your Who's in the House, print screen, because there was no image, but then the image of your photo, I'm just going to wait. Hopefully here it'll come back. Your photo, your desktop, your introduce your computer, then would all go in here. Okay? So what's the last one? We're almost there, believe it or not. And then in classwork, okay, so this is the last one in classwork, because by this time we will have 7 classworks. I'm pretty sure maybe 6 for the online students, but I'll verify these numbers. Right, so in this case what you would do is go into each one of the classworks, so classwork, and this is where even for the face-to-face students, right, so there's been video for each week. So I want you to bring up the video at some place. Don't do it right at the beginning, but put it somewhere and take a print screen of what was happening in the classroom or something that caught your attention. Okay, so you could take a print screen of this and upload it into, go back here, the classwork. Okay, so we should have, like I said, 6 or 7 of those, and I'll verify those numbers. Okay, so now we've done quite a bit of work. We've actually given you content for each of these folders. Now really, more than anything, I just want to get you the experience of creating folders, putting things into folders. Okay, so now that you've done that, now you're going to share the folder. So you might have thought, based on the way we've done it in the past, I had you share the individual images. But because we're going to share the folder level, okay, so let me back up one. So now what we're going to do is share this. So you don't have to share them individually because you're going to share this folder. And what this means is any permissions you give it the folder flow down into the subdirectories. And that's a concept I want you to understand. Okay, so let me first show you how to do it on OneDrive. On OneDrive, once you get all these images, because remember, when you give me the link, I'm going to go through and see if all your images are there. Okay, so I'm going to go here. You click on it and then you share. So this share is going to be very similar to what we've done, but the key is you're sharing the directory. Okay, so I'm going to go share, get a link, view only, create the link. Okay, so then you can shorten it like we've done before. right? So that's how you do it in OneDrive. In Google Docs, it's almost identical. Let me go show you. On Google Docs, now I have a lot of files on Google Docs, so let me just show you in general. Once you create your folder, okay, you click your folder and then you come up here and you do share. You change it, okay, to where in this case I would specify anyone with a link, okay? And when you do that, I'm trying to think, I shouldn't be... Okay, now I don't want to do it to that directory. Sorry, I shouldn't have chosen that directory. That was, oh, here's a good one. I'll do my CIT12 here. So what I would do is do this. I would change this to anyone with a link. Click Save. Now I don't get a shortener here, but that is then for Google Docs, the URL I would share into Blackboard. Okay, so I've shown you how to do it inside of here, which is OneDrive, and I've shown you how to do it in Google Drive. Okay, so now what you want to do is, now that you shared the directory, you post your link into Blackboard. Okay, now in here, so in here under your hands-on, and then I want you to write, in this case I'm only going to have you write 100 words about your experience, because most of this was just learning how to create directories and then seeing how to put things into them. So in this case, you would just set up your normal reply. You would give us, right? So I'm going to just say link to my directory. Make this a heading like we always do, because you know how I like it. 5. Okay, and then here, once you've created that, then this would be the link, either the Google Doc or the OneDrive. Let's see if I've captured either of those. I did capture that one. Oh, by the way, let's hit cancel here. Oh, my bad. Let me do it again. By the way, what I'm going to do is Control Z, and what that does is undo. Control Z is good to know. I'm on my Windows. If I was on my Mac, it'd be Command Z. So in this case, I want to show you, and most of you are already doing this automatically, but do select open in a new window. It just makes my life grading much easier. And then do my experience, also make this a heading, and then write 100 words about doing this work. And the key to this work is really just getting there's two things. One is just seeing how to directories, and really you could also think about how you would really, if this was really something you were trying to do, because you really do want to think about creating directories and subdirectories for your information, how you might create. Actually, that's what I think I'm going to change, is on the write-up, come up with how you give me an example of how you would on your own computer create, give me like the 4 or 5 directory names you would use and some subdirectory names, okay? So instead of the experience, I want you to actually write, think about your own information. Think about categories or directories you would give it, because remember, in this case you might have thought about, why did Rio, in chapter work I had you create because I knew more information was coming. The key is how much information is going to go in each subdirectory. Sometimes they need a subdirectory, sometimes just the directory itself, as in this case I knew I was only going to have you create a certain number. The point is, of anything, is to have you start thinking about things in terms of files and managing them, because if you do this right, then, and here's ultimately the key, when you go to backup, you only have one directory to back up. Okay, so that's really the lesson I'm trying to get through in this exercise. Create these subdirectories, put the files in that I've asked, share it, create a link, and then write about how, given the information that you save, what are 4 to 5 possible subdirectories you would create for managing your information, and then within those at least create a couple of subdirectories in them. Okay? All right. Hope this gives you the idea and helps you work through this.